Hi, I'm Mike Horstman, Chief Deputy with the Cross County Sheriff's Office in Wisconsin. 3 years ago, we had the privilege of starting with a presentation with iCrimeFighter. It quickly became apparent to us that this was a company that we needed to be involved with. It gave us a quick, rapid, and secure method for our officers in the field to be able to do their reports, upload photos and video, at the same time getting witness statements, all securely loaded into a cloud system that our records management team could then access. Our records management team loves the system because no longer are they downloading video to disk to send to our district attorney's office or to answer open records requests.
My name is Jason with iCrimeFighter. More than likely, you're probably given some information to take a look at this solution called iCrimeFighter. And my goal today is to educate you on what it does, kind of how the workflow works, and enough information to give you so maybe we can set up another meeting to discuss further details and pricing and so forth. But just to kind of set things off, iCrimeFighter is basically a solution that allows the departments to collect, store, and transfer their media files. We know a lot of departments struggle with the fact that they have large files and they're burning CDs or putting stuff on flash drives and so forth. We're the depository for all that information to have one spot, then easily be able to transfer to folks like prosecuting attorney's office, city attorneys, other departments within your county, and so forth. The iCrimeFighter, we are a cloud-based solution. The nice thing is we obviously don't need to load a software and so forth. We do have tools that would allow you to use this on your device like an iPhone or Android to collect some of the items. I'm not going to necessarily get into that as of today, but at least you know it does exist. And obviously when you do reach out looking for some more information, we can definitely go into different areas like that. But let me go ahead and log in and take you through basically how the workflow works. That'll give you a sense of how you guys are doing stuff internally now, how this could bring the value that this could change things and adapt to what you guys could be streamlining. The way to look at this too is always be thinking about those items that you're currently using, and as I'm going through this, think about those are the items that we want to replace. So iCrimeFighter is a solution that is just that, is we want to replace the items, the broken workflows and so forth, and replace it with a streamlined product and get some of those budgetary items to obviously fund this kind of project. So once you log in or any user logs in, if there's obviously cases out for your department, they would be able to see that in real time. And so that's what you're looking at right now is a list of all the cases that I have out there. I have these different tabs up here to make it a little easier to maneuver through. If I wanted to look at my share cases or just break down different scenarios just to see my caseloads differently, I can do that. As I spoke earlier, there is a tool that would allow a user to collect items in the field from a smartphone, but we don't just need those tools to do that. We can actually start a case from what we call the back office. We simply would do that by clicking on the plus mark, assigning the case number that would obviously be important, and then putting in other information that we see fit as you see displayed on the screen. What I'm going to do is obviously I can start a case, or I'm just going to go into this demo case that I've created. And when I click on it, you'll notice that I do have a video file in here. We don't have a size restriction of what can go in here. So your videos, think of your body cams, your squad videos, surveillance. We do our best job to try to make those streamable. So if you're putting the raw video in here, yes, they will be able to be streamed in more than likely most scenarios. So like for instance, this one here, if I call it out, it's a short video, but you can see this is a streamable video. My users, myself, I can go ahead and watch those so I don't have to download those items. Very easy to define what you're looking for. We have these file types, so notes, videos, and so forth. If you guys want to break that down, here in a second, I'll go ahead and just kind of hit on folders, but you can see a lot of agencies do want to set up folders, especially if you're an investigator or task force. You want to break down different properties, different locations and so forth, where you collected the items, and that's something you can definitely do and label those items. As an administrator, we do keep track of everything. We keep track of who obviously has access to the case, down to what permission levels, and obviously who is taking stuff within the case, who's adding items. I won't necessarily go through all these, but I will hit on some of the important ones up here that obviously for your department, you might want to be thinking about it. You have your RMS system, your records management system that you keep everything in, but more than likely, the body cams, squad videos, some of these large videos are not able to go into it. So we can link these systems directly to iCrimeFighter to streamline that process for you guys. It's a simple hyperlink. It makes it nice if somebody's actually in the case, they can see the iCrimeFighter link. It drives them directly to that case file as long as they have permission to do that. Uploading features, there's a number of different ways that I want to hit on really quickly. We can go through a standard upload by clicking here. You can see the upload feature is in there. We can do a drag and drop of files. We also have a desktop utility that would allow those items to basically upload in the background. So there's different scenarios that we can do to get information into the case file without having to consume somebody's time to do that through an upload process. We can just have that utility take over. I do want to point out a really great feature that most departments struggle with, sometimes collecting items from folks in their communities to business owners and so forth that might have something of evidence. More than likely, you guys are going on site to do that now. You're burning a disk, you're bringing a flash drive, you're doing all sorts of stuff like that. And we obviously have the cost of those items. We also have, it's very difficult sometimes to say time, but time is a factor of obviously spending an officer's time or a deputy's time to do that. We have something unique. It's called Evidence Anywhere. Allows you to send an invite to a person securely, allow them to basically import that stuff or upload that stuff to the iCrimeFighter site, to the case file that you initiated from. All of it's done in the background securely. If the end user gets this from on their smartphone, they can upload text messages, photos, everything directly from their smartphone, making it really streamlined instead of you going on location to collect that. So obviously the interest hopefully is there and the value is being seen as I'm going through this. We will hit on some of these features and so forth, but I definitely wanted to talk about that. So one last thing I really want to get into before we wrap it up here, as this is just a little sample piece of what we do, is let's talk about the sharing side of things. So as I said before, we have the prosecuting attorney's office. That's going to be very important where you're sharing a lot of data. I don't know if your workflow is you're burning CDs or flash drives. We tend to find that that's usually the case. So what we would do is we would set up your prosecuting attorney's office, city attorneys, other departments within your agency or your county, and you can simply share to those folks. So instead of burning a CD, now what we do is we flip a switch. By flipping the switch, they do have an iCrimeFighter account. Nothing obviously is seen in that account, but now they'll get a notification that says XYZ department has shared something with you. They can either simply click on that link, or they can go to their iCrimeFighter account and see the items or the case file that's been shared. The nice thing about this is any ongoing information that's continuing to be shared with them through that case file, they're going to get those corresponding notifications that say, hey, there's 5 new photos and so forth for them to see in real time. So this is what a lot of the departments that we work with, they struggle with getting stuff from department to prosecuting attorney's office and so forth. So this list can grow, and we can talk about it obviously on a per department basis when we do a follow-up call with you. Now the other step of that is they need to get it to the defense attorneys. And so what we do is what we have is the ability for them to select items, and they can come up here to do a send by email secured downloadable link. So the receiving party will get a link. They'll click on it. They'll also get a security code that they'll put in. Once they put that security code in, they will be able to download the items. No differently than if they got a CD, they can load it, they can store it on their computer, they can put it on a CD if they want. But in real time, this has shown that everything's been electronically sent, and the case history is going to show, which I'll give you a snapshot of that here in a second. It'll show every step of what's happening from the time a person received it to a time a person downloaded those items. So my case in point is when they call and say they didn't receive it, at least in the case history, there's a track record of that actually happening. The other thing worth noting is the receiving end of a link does not need an iCrimeFighter account. Their link will expire after 30 days, and it's a one-time download. So this is probably a good thing for you, your department, as a open records request. Any of that information, you guys can use a secured downloadable link to provide that information. And like I said, let me just give you a snapshot of what the case history looks like. Obviously this case, not much happening, but you can see username is going to be attached, views are going to be attached, items and so forth. All the events and so forth of what's happening, you guys can break down and see in real time of what's happening. Obviously, if this is an ongoing, long case, you guys would be able to see that. I think that's where I'm going to wrap it up.
iCrimeFighter, a great company to work with. They're ready to adapt to any person's needs. We have come up with a couple of solutions that they've worked with us on, one of those being the Evidence Anywhere module. It's not uncommon for our department and others to have issues where we need video from a crime scene. However, no one on scene is able to access that video. Rather than needing to go back out the next day or in the future to get that video, we can send a link to the appropriate person. They can then securely upload the video that we need for us. Not only is iCrimeFighter something that we in the law enforcement field can use, it's something that in my 32 years with the Sheriff's Office, I found that other departments within the county entity would be able to use it too, such as our highway department, our zoning and land records information, our emergency management, even those that deal with child protective case issues where they need to interview clients and take photos. Things can rapidly be uploaded, and for those that need to report to FEMA for accidents or emergency situations, they can use that to report to FEMA.
Obviously, I just want to give you the short and sweet of what iCrimeFighter is. You've got some information to look into. What I would suggest now is, reaching out to us. Let's do a full-blown, web demo for you guys to answer questions that might only maybe pertain to you guys internally, and we'd be happy to do that. So I thank you for your time and look forward to talking to you guys and everybody in the future.